So, if you haven't been living under a rock, you probably know at this point that the dating scene is a bit all over the place. And honestly, I want this video just to be more of something where I give you my opinion and then we can actually just chat a bit and figure out what the heck's going on. So, from what I understand with the dating scene, is that things are just a bit chaotic. You've got all sorts of things in terms of expectations being lots like much higher, and lots of guys are checking out, in terms of men going their own way. And I just want to use this to sort of share my experience and my thoughts, and basically then we can figure out what we should do. So the first thing for me is I'm the type of guy that wants to focus on the things I can control. Because as much as I could spend the rest of my life complaining about all the things that are going wrong outside in terms of complaining about women and all sorts, it just doesn't really feel like it's worth doing, at least not long term. So the first thing I default to is working on myself. Now, I know plenty of people will roll their eyes at that, and I also do as well, because there is the main question of, well, how long do I need to work on myself until I can actually, I don't know, be viable for a relationship or be prepared or ready to get into a relationship and such. And I'm still trying to figure that one out. But I think the main thing for me is I know in the past I would often get into relationships with the wrong intentions, where I'd get into relationship primarily for the validation of, that other person, for the, like support of that other person. I think as a guy, in my view, I just think it is better for you to first be able to make sure you can take care of yourself. And me being 22, I'm still yet building on the ability to do that. But I think being able to take care of yourself first and having things that are meaningful to you that you can work on first, I think that's always going to help. Because then, or at least for me, my views is okay, well, once I'm in something of a good position, I'm not saying making tons and tons of money, but I'm just saying in a good enough position so I can look after myself pretty well, then it means that what I am looking for, or looking more seriously to get into a relationship, it's more of a addition to my life as opposed to my life revolves around this one person. Because yeah, like I think like a lot of people that I sort of tend to see are almost really really desperate for that relationship, for that other thing. And I know it can be different for some people, and I think everyone wants that feeling of being loved and having some of that affection. But yeah, I think I think looking at, and like I'm sort of looking at videos of, all these sort of videos that you see online of, I don't know, for example, women demanding this and, men checking out and all sorts. And I always just come back to, okay, well, what can I control? What can I do to best prepare myself? Now, there was the thoughts of, okay, well, maybe eventually when I do start traveling a bit more, maybe it's the question of I go and look for a relationship outside of the West. Now, I'm not saying that makes things 10 times easier, but, I'm assuming it's probably going to be better than dating in the West. But I think really the point of this video is that, look, I've seen plenty of content, plenty of comments of, guys having enough, and just sort of, wanting to, stay single. And honestly, like I quite enjoy the peace that I have as a guy and just being single. So I can totally understand. But then there is also the thought of, okay, well, do you want to stay single for the rest of your life? Some people will say, well, yeah, I guess it's better than X, Y, and Z problem. Other people might just be sort of doing it for the time being. I think for me it's just a matter of, right, we'll just be able to take care of yourself pretty well. And then if it makes sense to actually, introduce someone else into your life, because for me as a guy, I feel like having a, having a sort of like a girlfriend or a partner in that relationship is more of a, I am going to take care of you, right? So that's sort of the way I look at it as like a responsibility thing. But I'd be interested to hear your thoughts, because I think the most important thing for me is, right, what can I control? And then from there, it's just going to be making sure that I'm in a good enough position to feel that I can take care of myself, and that I could potentially take care of someone else. And that the most important thing as well is that I've also got the more meaningful things that I'm working towards, right? That I've got things that I'm working towards that if someone else does come into my life, or even just, friends as well, that the thing I'm working towards is still the priority, right? It's still the priority. It's still working towards that. And it's the idea that even if, I do get a partner that comes in, or, a girlfriend, whatever, that I'm still working towards that meaningful thing, right? That's still the top priority. And that everything else is just, I guess extras to my life. So let me know your thoughts on this. I'm still in a mixed state, but that's sort of my views on the sort of the dating scene. But that said, I hope you relate and enjoy this video. I'll chat soon.